I'm just still not fully understanding how this is like impacting us this much. Like you didn't flirt with someone at a bar like a week before you came here?
I mean, flirting's different.
I get that. I'm not saying it's like the most comparable
I mean,
thing.
I'm single, I flirt all the time.
And I was single the day before like going on the show.
But like I wasn't like going home, hooking up with people literally a day before.
It was not a day before.
I mean, that's what they think.
I did not hook up with him the day or even the week before coming here.
They said like for a fact, like I know that they were together like that weekend before. I don't want to choose between you and my friends, but I feel like these things just keep adding up and adding up.
That's where I'm getting frustrated is like there's all these things adding up and like I'm not there to defend myself. He has like one version of this and it's like very different than my version, and I understand like that's very frustrating for you. You were like, you knew for a fact that I was with him the night before. That's not a fact. It's not true.
How do I know that's not true or not? Like, I don't know. Everything they've relayed.
They're telling you facts that aren't facts though.
Apparently this guy thinks that you guys were together literally like within 48 hours of you leaving for the experiment. I mean, my friend was with this guy on a ski trip like a week ago. And so it came straight from him. Like,
he is someone going into this that you didn't think super highly of.
I mean, I don't even, no, I've only met him a couple times.
And he's, yeah.
The main thing I'm trying to figure out is like, this was not just like a, oh, hey, sorry, our casual hookup's over, I'm gonna go get married now. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't fully understand how that makes me not ready to be here.
How do you see somebody for a couple months
because
and
he
not
knew,
have
like,
any sort of like closure with that? Like, how do you not explain that?
I did explain that. Like the whole time we were so casual. Like the last time that I saw him was like we got ice cream together and he told me about the Hinge date that he had the night before.
Okay.
This was like a very explicit, like friends with benefits situation. It's probably longer than it like feels good to think about and hear about, but like I don't understand how like me hooking up with someone, me like being friends with benefits with someone for like 2 months equates to me not being ready for marriage. And like that's where I'm struggling too. I'm not trying to like hide anything. Like I'm so honest with you about all of this. Everyone in my life is so confused like why this is a thing, because they're like, this is such an insignificant part of all of this. And I'm not trying to like discredit how you're feeling about it, but I'm confused that like this is the thing that is prohibiting us from figuring out like if we want to get married.
Yeah. We're about to get married.
I know.
It's fucking weird that like you were with some other guy and then next thing you know, like I'm spending every night in bed in the same bed with you. And like we've barely even hooked up. And it's just
I know,
like,
because like you've been somewhere else for the last week.
I have, yeah. And I feel like for good reason too. Like if I was seeing somebody going into this experiment, I definitely
I was not seeing anyone going into this experiment.
Okay. I mean,
This is not someone I dated. We never like went on dates together. We never like slept over at each other's houses or places. We never like hung out with each other's friends. This is not some like, yes, you're like, oh my gosh, 2 months, like that's a long time. It's really not when there's 15 other things that you're focusing on and like have such a strong gut on like what I want and like the person I want to be with. And like it was very obvious that he was not that person. But like you have to like meet me halfway.
I know. And I'm trying. I really am. I've been trying. But it's just been a lot. I hear it not only from my friends, but like my sister has mutual connections. She's just like, who is this girl that you're engaged to that was like with some other guy?
I've never in my life had to like defend my character. Never been in a situation.
And you shouldn't.
But I'm here, like, I have to because everyone's fucking talking and I'm not part of the conversation.
And that's what
like,
I'm saying sorry for that, because you don't deserve to get that type of treatment from people that don't know you. Because I know you, I feel pretty damn well. I know you're like one of the best people I've ever met. That's part of the reason I fell in love with you. And I'm just like going to bed at night. She was just doing this with some other guy like right before she came here.
I was not going to bed with him at night.
I'm just saying, like that's in my head, that's what it feels like. And it's been very hard for me to get past that.
I'd rather us like not go our separate ways tonight.
Okay. I mean, see, that's where like I would, because I don't feel comfortable right now like being here.
You let me down.
I'm not trying to walk away, but I also don't know what else to do.
meet up with your friends.
Yeah, I just need to like
Yeah.
figure things out more.
Yeah.
For those of you who've never seen this show, this is Love is Blind. And I was never really a person to be into this show. I've heard people talk about it and this, that, and the other. But the setup for this particular scene is they're supposed to be having friends or family come over for they can get to know each other and stuff like that, right? So the soon-to-be married couple to get to know each other's friends, relatives, and stuff like that. Prior to Lauren coming on the show, now I feel her frustration and anger completely. And I don't know what's wrong with people named David who go on these reality shows because they're all stupid for whatever reason, right? And I would say follow your gut instinct. When he got on screen initially early in the season, I didn't like him. When they decided to choose each other and get engaged, to get married, David met some of Lauren's friends, and they had the same exact discussion right there that they had right there. And as David said, he met the guy. He wasn't particularly fond of the guy, but I can understand him taking his sister's word, but if you're hearing from your friends that it's a fact that they hooked up before she got on the show, how are you going to prove that as a fact? That I want to know. And then he kind of contradicted himself where he said, you're one of the best people I know, but yet you're judging her for something that you don't know happened or not, and she's telling you for a fact that didn't happen. There's always three sides to a story: her side, your side, and the truth. And if you're going to say that she has good character, she's one of the best people you know, why aren't you taking her word for it unless she's done something otherwise to make you doubt her words? So I had a problem with that aspect. I'm sure he didn't defend her either to his family or his sister, which I have a problem with. If you're going to spend your life with someone and they're supposed to be your person and you can't even defend them or bring her around to give her side of the story, but I just couldn't understand. His ego took such a massive hit because he felt they were dating like a serious relationship. Did anybody else catch that? Did she make it seem like they were in a serious relationship or just friends with benefits? Because that's how I took it. And say the shoe was on the other foot. Would he be this defensive if he was in Lauren's shoes? I don't think so. I think he'll say the exact same thing. It didn't mean anything. We're just hooking up X, Y, and Z. And I don't understand why he make it seem like she was in a committed relationship with this dude for a few months and she wasn't. So when I first saw that clip, I was thinking to myself initially that he wasn't into her. He didn't find her attractive. Because I'm like, okay, she's not ugly. And I do remember him saying in earlier episodes that she didn't seem like a person that he would normally date, personality wise, and based on looks, she's probably not his typical type. So based on my impressions of what I've seen of her on film, she seems like a nice person, seems to have a good spirit, but I didn't like him from Jump Street just because he asked stupid ass questions in the beginning of the process. So I just feel he's the type of person who shouldn't be on this show, and he needs a lot to learn about himself and relationships. And the last point is that if you get married to someone and you guys have an argument, why do people on these type of shows always want to leave the apartment that they're in? What are you going to do when you're in a house or a place of your own when you're married? Leave every time you guys have a disagreement or argument? No, you stay and you work it out. I just think he's a child for acting that way. And it's like they give like a pass, these producers, like, yeah, I want to leave, so you let me. No, make their asses stay and work it out.
All right, somebodies, am I understanding this correct about this show? Lauren and David, when they first got on the show, they were not together. So, What does it matter what happened before you met? Okay? This is clearly on David. This is an insecurity that he has. What does it matter if she was hooking up with the guy even the night before she went on the show? What does that matter? You work together. That's none of your damn business. If she chooses to share that with you, fine. It seems like the family got involved. The sister is saying, oh, she hooked up with a guy beforehand. So what? What is the big deal? You two didn't even know each other up until this show. This is on David. I'll give a clear example. So when my wife and I met, she had not fully broken up with her ex-boyfriend. So when we were dating, like after the first week, she finally told me, hey, I didn't officially break it off with my boyfriend. It's still up in the air, lingering, but I want to be with you, and I feel the right thing to do is to go with him and officially break it off. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. That's fine. So she went ahead and did that. That was the right thing to do. And I understood that. I had no ego about it. I fully understood that. And by the way, that was none of my business to begin with. That she left that relationship not officially broken up. I'm just glad we met. And here's another example. When we were talking about sexual partners, I'm secure enough to talk about that with my wife. Somebody's okay. I know some of you are not. I'm sure David wouldn't be. He's showing himself. And I asked her, hey, she had mentioned, oh yeah, right before I met you, like the week before, I hooked up with one of my one of my friends. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. And it was funny because once we met, like the following week, that friend called her, but she right away said, hey, I met this guy and I dig him. I really want to be with him. And that friend was like, hey, good for you. Congratulations. So, but again, none of my business because this happened before we met. Come on, somebody, especially guys. What's the matter here? Why are we so insecure? Why does that have to bother you? Like Jay had mentioned, what if the shoe's on the other foot? And this happened to David and he hooked up the night before they got on the show. He probably wouldn't understand why it's such a big deal. Of course not. This is his hang-up. He is the one that's the problem here. History before you shouldn't matter. If this stuff bothers you in the relationship, guess what? Number one, you probably would benefit from some therapy to try to work this out. But number two, don't progress a relationship because apparently they're supposed to be getting married and he can't get past this. And more so, I heard as well, he has his friends and his family, but it seemed like especially his sister, they have his ear. And who's been with him this whole time before he met her? His family. And he's taking the sister's side, even though he said, I like your character, I like who you are. So, again, even if it's true that she hooked up the night before, what's the big deal, David? Get over yourself. You're gonna ruin this because of something that only bothers you. That is something that you haven't worked on. Please seek therapy. And for any of you that react this way in this scenario, it's you. Don't point the finger at anybody else but you.